What's going on, folks? I'm Renegade. Out here in my driveway, obviously, as many of you know, I have my black 87 245. I've owned this car, driven this car, and worked on this car for better part of 2 decades now. I've done a bunch of stuff to it. Added some performance parts, made some performance parts, did a couple little things like upgrading the headlights, and overall I did a bunch, right? Pretty simple. Like I said, a lot of you subscribers that have been here for a while know this stuff. This is my 91 245. This one I've not done a lot to. In fact, the only thing I've done to this car so far is putting on performance sway bars. Everything else about this car, stock. Brief history of the car. This car actually used to be my mother's car. We all drove Volvos in the family. My mother drove a Volvo, my father drove a Volvo, my sister drove a Volvo, I drove a Volvo. Funny enough, all 4 of them being 240s. My mother drove this one, I drove what is now the black one, and my sister drove the sedan that you often see me walking past. So things have changed, and obviously I still drive Volvos. And now, in fact, I have 2. So I've got my car and what used to be my mother's car prior to her passing away. I've been driving this car for about a week, and there are a few things that drive me nuts about it. A couple things I need to change, a couple things I want to change, but one of the ones is what we're going to talk about today. And this is kind of going to be probably a hot topic for some people, because some people say that what is there should stay there. We're talking, of course, about headlights. Like I said, this car completely stock, which means it has the standard filament style bulbs in here. Or I shouldn't say filament style, I should say filament bulbs. But for those of you who do not know, if you look here, this is the headlight. This big thing, and you can tell, I mean, I don't have small hands, that's a big unit. But that is just the headlight housing. Inside of it is actually a light bulb. Now this holds true for these composite ones. There are obviously some cars that have a sealed beam, meaning the whole face that you see is glass, and that whole part comes out. It's like that on my Porsche and on the 1800s and a lot of the older cars. Luckily, these are composite, which means if I go to change out the headlights, all this stays. It's just the bulb inside. So what we're going to do today, we're actually going to be switching over to LEDs. Now I did this on my 87, so I know already how this all goes. I know the benefits, and I'm going to do it again. So I have here a set of LED headlights. And yes, I know this is going to be a hot topic for some people. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, I promise. This is the entire headlight right here. And this is going to be much better than what is in there currently. So obviously, like I said, these are old school filament bulbs. It means there is a filament inside the bulb. There's actually 2, one for high beam, one for low beam. That when power goes to it, it gets hot, it lights up. This is the exact same thing as what is in the light, or in the lamp next to you, or in your ceiling light. Same thing. These work. I mean, they do great. Obviously, Edison invented them. Let's save the argument as to Edison versus Tesla, okay? They've been around for a long time, and they've been the tried and true method of illumination. But we've advanced in technology. And while these are good, they're a little dim. See, when I'm out driving at night, they do illuminate the road pretty well, but not great. And when I'm driving down like a really dark road, it's a little hard to see. And I don't necessarily want to be driving around with my high beams on. You know, look, there's a time and a place for it, but I don't like having to use my high beams to see down a dark road. That's where these come in. 1, these are going to be brighter. 2, these are going to last longer. LEDs last longer. They also use less power, which is always nice if you want to Like if you have any worry at all about your charging system at any point, Like, I've had it happen before. My alternator died, and I was trying to get somewhere before the alternator died out and the battery died out and I was stranded. So in a case like that, every little volt matters. Every amperage matters. Well, headlights, and you can see if you put a voltage meter on your car, when you turn on the headlights, they'll generally sap around a volt of power. So when you should be getting like 14.3 volts, you'll see like 13.5 volts. I know this because I have a voltage meter in my black car and I used to see it. But switching to LEDs uses so much less power that you'll see it basically drop from 14.3 to 14. So, in all, this is better. I know, there are some people out there, they're gonna argue me, and they're gonna say that there's a reason that I shouldn't be doing this. We're gonna talk about that, just wait. This is a nice, no tools needed project. And it looks like it's gonna rain, so I'm gonna get this done before it rains, and you'll see how easy this is. So if we look down here, right to the front of the car, if you look down here, this connector is in the back of the headlight housing. That's where your bulb is. So, just need to pop the connector off, turn that ring, take it off. There you go. There's your headlight. You can see in there are two metal strands, although one of them is actually broken. Those are your filaments. Those are the part that lights up. Like I said, you can see I got a broken one here. I think that was my high beam, so I need to replace these anyway. Old school filament, new school LED. Those little yellow things you see, those are actually the LED cobs. They're the part that illuminate. Now I did make sure when I ordered these, obviously I ordered them for a direct swap. This is a 9004 bulb that goes in the Volvo 240. This is a 9004 equivalent bulb. So we just go ahead and put it in. Take our ring, make sure we have it the right direction. Go. Oops, I have this the wrong way. Ta-da! Done. Now, one thing you might notice is that when I took the bulb out, the connector was in a different position. I put it in and the bulb is rotated. Just because it is a match doesn't mean it's necessarily always a perfect match. If the connector has to sit a different way, it can. But what this does mean is that when I turn on my high beam or my low beam, a different segment of the headlight housing, this part right here, might be illuminated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the headlight and we're actually going to see where the light is and if I need to rotate it or not. Pretty simple though, right? You can already see, look at how much brighter that is compared to that one. You can also see the color difference. These LEDs, especially like LEDs, are normally much whiter than the standard filament bulbs. That's why that one, which is still the stock one, is yellow. There's a temperature on the bulbs when you go to buy them. The higher the temperature, you'll see it in Ks, like a 4000K, 650K, 8000K. That's the brightness of the bulb. Now I'm going to install the other one, and then we'll talk about what the trip fall is of this and why people get upset. There you go. Both LEDs in. Now obviously that headlight is a little dirty, I need to clean it, but you can already see a huge difference. So what's this hot topic that I keep making mention of that would make people upset with the idea of doing this modification? Because this is really cheap. I mean, I got these for like 30 bucks off of Amazon, and they're gonna last me a long while. So I know because I have them in my 87. But you see how much brighter these are? People complain that if you do this mod, that it will blind other drivers. Well, there's an easy solution to that. It's called adjust your headlights. So if you look, now every car is slightly different. You'll have to pardon the road noise. But if you look, every car is different. But on the 240, you look under here, you'll see an adjuster here, an adjuster there. Over here, you'll see an adjuster here, and an adjuster down there. These are what you use to adjust your headlights as to where they are, high, low, in, out. If you don't adjust your headlights, yes, you could be obnoxiously bright to some people. So when I do this mod, I always tilt my headlights down a scotch, just to make sure that I'm not blinding people. Now, like I've said, I've done this modification on my A7 245. I put an LED headlight in my XJ600. I put them in my R6. I'm gonna put them in the XS when I do that. I'm gonna put them in the Porsche. I wanna run LEDs on all my headlights. And the reason is because they are so much better. One of the great benefits also these days is that my car is so much lower than most cars. Right now, the roads are populated mostly with SUVs and pick-em-up trucks, which, hey, if that's what you like, cool, that's great. However, your headlights at this point are on the same level as my eyeballs while I'm in the car. My car, lower, so it doesn't blind as much, but you still want to adjust your headlights down a little bit. So these will project a little better, so bring them down just a hair. So this is a pretty easy modification. I'll adjust the headlights when it gets dark, because obviously it's hard to do in the light. Much easier to do it in the dark where you can actually see where your beams are. But unfortunately I can't record that because then it'll be dark, and it's tricky to get a good camera angle in the dark and actually be able to show you what it is I'm doing. But I'm going to take care of that. And yeah. So I'll catch up with you guys when it's dark. Yeah, now that's much better. Obviously you can tell we've got low beam, high beam. Now since I did angle my lenses down a little bit, obviously I'm not shining my lights directly into anybody's eyes, but you can see, I mean, the light is so much better than what it was before. On the one side we've got the standard bulbs, on the other side we've got the LEDs. You can see, I mean, the light is just far superior. I can see so much better now. And to be able to see better like this is to be safer. You know, I'm going down a pretty dark road. You know, there are street lights, but the street lights don't do a whole lot. You know, this can get a little sketchy without proper light. And there are definitely roads that do exist that don't have any light, and you know, I want to be able to see properly. This solves a big issue. So that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please remember, if you did like the video, remember to hit the like button. Leave any comments or questions you have down below. And yeah, until next time, y'all keep rocking and rolling. I'm gonna keep taking care of business. I'll see you in the next video.